Do you find yourself having to ask someone to repeat themselves, and it happens more often than you'd like? You're certainly not alone. More than 48 million Americans suffer from it to some degree, and it's not just seniors who are affected. Dr. Thomas Powers and Dr. Gus Mueller join us to discuss the causes and the symptoms of hearing loss, plus the latest technologies available. Good morning, doctors. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
What is the scope of this problem nationwide?
Well, you mentioned the 48 million, and there's different ways to do projections of how many people are out there with hearing loss. The one that I find the most interesting is when we actually look at surveys of people who self-identify as having a hearing loss. When we look at those surveys and project, we're still seeing as many as maybe 40 million people who are suffering from the hearing loss. And what perhaps is disappointing, I guess, and surprising, is only about 20% of them have really taken any action to use hearing instruments. So there's a large portion of these people who simply are okay with walking around with hearing loss.
Yeah, and a large portion of them, it impacts their day-to-day life to some extent. So how can hearing loss impact quality of life and I guess even the relationships that we have?
Well, there's a lot of issues there, Mike. It starts with the family. It causes family problems. People have to repeat. People have to interpret things for the other. Then that tends to lead to more social isolation, perhaps loss of income. And in recent years, we've seen research relating hearing loss to dementia and cognitive decline, related partly to the fact that sounds aren't reaching the brain, and also to the fact that these people are just not as social, which again, the brain simply isn't stimulated with the everyday things. So it isn't just about hearing, it's really about the quality of life for people.
Yeah, I'm a musician. I've been around loud music ever since I can remember, and I assume that loud noises impact your hearing to some extent. But what can people do to really preserve their hearing throughout the course of their lives?
Well, I think one of the things you can do is, if you recognize that you are around a lot of loud noise, is to wear some type of hearing protection. If you can, if you're in recreational environments, chainsaws and those things, or loud music at concerts, or if it's in the workplace, earmuffs or earplugs are a good way to protect your hearing. The other part, of course, is the aging process, which does contribute to hearing loss. So those two things together, there's not a lot you can do about the aging process, but certainly the noise exposure is something you can do. And once you recognize that you are having some hearing difficulty, the thing is to go and have a hearing test. We find that a lot of people haven't had a hearing test in 20 or 30 years, and so they're not really sure what their hearing is.
Yeah, are there new solutions out there to help people that suffer from hearing loss?
Yes, there are. We've seen great strides in hearing aids over the past 20 years or so. The hearing aids that we're manufacturing here at Siemens have advanced technology. We refer to them as smart hearing aids. They're automatic. They can adjust to the environment that you're listening, whether that's a quiet place, a noisy place. Maybe in a conversation, we have things called directional microphones that let you really target that person you're trying to listen to in a restaurant or in a noisy place. We take care of feedback with feedback reduction algorithms. So not only we're making them easier to wear, but we're also making them convenient in that you can also stream to them using Bluetooth technology. So your cell phone, if you have a TV that's Bluetooth or a little transmitter on the TV, all of those things lead to hearing instruments now becoming much more of a communication hub. And this smart technology, wearables or hearables, we've also seen this term begin to be used to try and help with a little bit of the stigma. That's another big problem, is that people think that they're going to look older if they wear a hearing aid.
Yeah, doctor, I guess the first step is to get in there and get your hearing checked out. Thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.